Hey everyone, hope you're well. I have been having a nightmare with internet so far. Been out for the last hour, which has not been great, so apologies for being a little bit late. Even more so, I missed the correction here on the 10-year. We just probed above a couple of weeks value area, and then we've just reverted back since. So roughly about here. I missed it, which is not great. How's everyone's trading been? Hey Neil. Yeah, it was okay, buddy. It was okay. Started off pretty ropey in the 10-year. Well, when I say ropey, I lost 3 or 4 ticks on the 10-year this morning, where we bought early. Then the correction happened, and then we caught the 30-year bond for a nice one, and then we caught a couple of longs in the 10-year. So okay day. Okay day. They'd been really good if I didn't start the day off with a loser, but these things happen. These things happen. We're working our way down here to the POC at the moment. Hey Avi, how's it going, buddy? How's your day been, Avi? And what about yourself, Neil? So I think the plan is we're probably going to work our way down to the POC here. I'm not going to take any positions, obviously, because it's really late. I like to be, if I've not made my money by now in a day, I'm just waiting until tomorrow, to be honest. So good order flow position right now. We've seen some size come in, hitting the bids, and then we've seen an instant reloads, and we're seeing the same here. So they've just taken up the next price in the 5-year and then reloaded 500. This is looking pretty steep order, and then we're ticking up. So we want to see the 30-year firm up a little bit, and watch this number here. So it's loads of pulling and stacking going on right now. To be honest with you, I don't really think so. I don't really think there was, it wasn't like it was such a crazy day. I mean, I've not really checked in the last couple of hours. I've not checked ES, but the Treasury market's been pretty much straight line today. Out with a couple of corrections. You see this order still firming up. If I was to consider a long position here, I would like to see the 30-year either firm up here or essentially start hitting some size, because it looks right now that the sellers are hitting into the bids, but this is seeming relatively strong. But look at the amount of orders. We're just not cracking through these at these time. I mean, there's 11.7k on the bid here and 10k on the offer here. So, notice these levels to see if they're going to be pulled or not, because that's typically how treasuries move. You see 3.5k here, right? Some size will trade into it, and then you just see it pulling, and then it'll typically drop down a price, and maybe only 2k will trade. Hey Nico, took a loss in the morning that I had to take care of later on, but on the day around 17 tickaroos. Nice, buddy. Nicely done. That's a solid day. I pretty much started the same. Would have had a stellar day if I didn't take an L. I actually got stuck in the 10-year, uh, which happens really infrequently. I was long and it sold off, and it skipped through like 2 or 3 prices I had to cover and take. I think I took a 3 or 4 tick loss, but it was with size as well, so it hurt, to be honest. It was with about 15 contracts, so. But that was fine. We then caught a nice position on the 30-year, round about VWAP, and I think we took something like 15 ticks out of that with their size, so it was nice. I think I took one trade in ES as well for 10 ticks, just before the open, and then I had a couple of scalps in the 10-year and 30-year bond, and that's really been me, to be honest. Ended the green in a day, which is nice. But again, would have been a solid day if I didn't have that loss, but that's fine. Some days you have that, some days it's, you start off on the downside, you're not always going to have positive trades. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Hi Nico, how was your day, buddy? Did you take any positions? And Neil, were you trading? What were you trading, buddy? Were you trading ES or NQ? So I think we'll probably jump across. We'll give it 5 minutes or so, and we'll probably jump across to. We'll jump across to indices, where we'll do our usual setup. Cause a little bit more action. I feel it's good to talk about these because when you're first looking at order flow, it's you can really pay attention. But I don't think we're going to do very much moving around here, in a 10-year, considering there's so much, unless these orders get pulled. Now we can see the bid is firming up on a 30-year, and then 900's been pulled. But again, look at all the size in the bid and offer, okay, and look at the just such a small amount is trading. So you tend to find from obviously the largest size gets hit into the 10-year, and then I use the 5-year and the 30-year mostly as a gauge. Is sometimes the 10-year and the 5-year will give an indication, and then the 30-year will lag, so you can play a catch-up trade. Nightmare when that happens. I would say, Neil, are you journaling that? Like, is that just an off couple of days, or do you find that happens regular, or or is it specific days of the week or times of the day? The only reason I'm saying is the reason why I typically don't trade after what time would that be? I try to not trade after 2 o'clock US time typically. The reason being is it's kind of late for me, and I'm not as on the ball when it gets, I'm in the UK, so that's like 6, yeah, it's about 7 o'clock for me, so I've already had a full day. If I'm just not on the ball, and I tend to do more impulsive, stupid things. So just over the years, I've learned to just, whatever I've made in a day, I tend to then just use the time to either work in my journal, or now with you guys we get to discuss markets, and we can discuss our day and see what we've looked at. Now don't get me wrong, on occasion if I see a really really nice trade I will, but I think over the longer term I tend to end up just doing my arse in, to be honest. Right, we're going to switch because this is not going anywhere, this 10-year. I mean, jeez, oh. No, I'm Scottish, Neil, so I'm just beside Glasgow and Edinburgh. You've got to close your shop position before 10. Oh gosh. Oh right, wow. Yeah. As a quick note, if you, I'm assuming you guys are all going to be watching the depth of market, right? And I'm hoping you have some sort of combined pulling and stacking, or at least a bid and ask pulling and stacking. As a tip, to be honest, if you're watching a DOM and you're glued and you forget what time of day it is, or you forget the news, or whatever happens, if you ever see the ask negative and the bid negative, both sides, right, and orders have been pulled and the book goes a bit thinner, right? In fact, it's even the book doesn't go a bit thinner, right? Because you may not notice that. If the bid and the ask is pulled at the same time and both are extremely negative, for example, there's news coming out. It's like the telltale sign. Anytime there is, like an 8:30 or 9:30 print or something, US time, they will always pull the orders. That's why when news comes out, it's not really there's not really a huge amount of buying. It's more, or selling in that case. It's more the orders are just being pulled, so it doesn't take a lot of size. And you can imagine, like, say it is 11.9k right now, right here on the bid. If when news comes out and maybe 2k will trade into this, it'll just take the next price as an example. It's even more so on NQ. I mean, probably 10 contracts is going to move it like 4 ticks. It's ridiculous. Yeah, well that's the rule, to be honest. The rule is when the book gets really thin and the bid and offer pulling and stacking basically just goes negative both ends, because you never really, in normal market conditions, it's normally one side has been pulled and one has been stacked, or maybe at recent prices, the bid, one has been pulled and stacked, for example, but you never see both sides just been pulled. It just doesn't happen. In normal conditions anyway. It's always pre-news where that will happen. The reason I'm saying that is there's always going to be a time in the future where you're glued, you forget the time of day, you've got a coffee, shit happens in a day, and then if you just remember that, you need to be thinking, oh wait a wee second, there could be news coming out, let me just check that before I go into this position or something. It's helped me out a few times, so that's why I'm suggesting it, to be honest. Right, let's stop watching this because we'll be here forever. Let's go on to the ladder. I will need to clean it up. Oh, we've went super bid. Okay. Let's clean up and see where we're at. Oh wow. Oh no, did we probe the pre... No, we didn't. Just no. So we took the overnight high and we just missed the previous day high. It's really annoying when it doesn't take it by the couple more ticks. And we've now reverted. Let me just make this bigger so we can see. So we did all this dancing around, couple of volatile days, and now we're literally back at here. We could extend this and we are literally back here, back into this huge POC area. Tons of built up value in here. You would have thought that this area would have already been traded out, and now we're trading out this area here, which I suppose is a lower volume node of a bigger volume area. So not been the easiest day here. We sold off in pre-market and we actually called in the market analysis this morning, right? Which is my general go-to when you tend to have a huge sell-off in pre-market. My initial thoughts is you'd be looking for a correction when the regular trading hour happens or opens or cash, and then we've had that correction. Even more so when there's news, right? So when we, dump in pre-market, and the reason why I suggest this all the time is because it doesn't take a lot of volume to move price or size to get price down to here. So when the regular trading hours open, they get to sling a lot of orders in and get some size executed at these better prices. Especially when there's data prints coming out, it always in pre-market goes one way or another. It always makes me skeptical for a correction, pretty much. So it would have been nice if I had a glorious sweep here of yesterday's high that would set, which is essentially a poor high. It's been put up here. I suppose we can say we've kind of repaired this high. And now we're just back to the day POC on market profile anyway. But we've got a while of ways to go back down to this area. But look at this for a correction, wow. This in my eyes is how a sweep should be happening. It's taken the overnight high. It would be nice if it took the previous day high, and now we are just dumping. Oh, this is good price action. Wow. This area is holding. See if they can crack it. It's gone. Now that is more like it. How many ticks is that in a sell-off? That's the cleanest sell-off I think I've seen in weeks. Wow. 53 ticks, Jesus. That's a gift. Did anyone catch that? Do you guys still trade it this time? Nice sweep of there and then complete dump. Got all that negative delta that's come in. This is, whoa, look at the amount of we've just seen some long liquidations there. Now back down into this traded out area. We are bound to see a bounce here. I mean, I can't, if we crash through this higher volume node of today, I'll be extremely surprised. Ah, nightmare. See, what's typical, to be honest, I'm actually really glad I'm not trading, because I would have waited for the previous day high, not got it, and then this would have happened and I would have been sick. To be honest, because my view is when you're literally right here and you're like 4 ticks away from sweeping the high, I would have waited and then this would have happened. But this is, wow. We've got Russell at the low of day nearly. Right, so watch the 86s, right? Which is basically POC. Is anything happening right now? This is just, there's not any news or anything. It's just a lot of negative delta that's coming in, right? Yeah, there is. So we've just, yeah, there's a ton of negative delta. 3, wow, it's like 5k negative delta just come in. That's a lot. I like watching the, indices are so much more interesting to watch when it's the sell side that's aggressive, because there's nothing that moves quicker than a market that's selling off in equities, man. Woohoo! Nicely done. 4 tickaroos. Right, are we really surprised if we crack right through here? We're now right back into the sort of balanced range. You know, the expected now is to take some profits, reverse back a little bit, trade around. But I want to see some more selling because it's entertaining. Considering I've been trading more treasuries the last couple of weeks, you know, like it's an easier life. God, look at the amount of selling that's coming here. Let me there was like 600 there and it's just been absorbed in the bid, so that's the key level right here. These 3 prices buyers need to hold. They're trying. Let's see, sellers should be aggressively taking this here. They should be taking all they have. It's holding. Yeah, it's an iceberg right there. 89.5. New level, which we're holding. We're going to clear. Now if buyers start punching in, all the sellers, the aggressive selling that happens here will need to cover. But sellers are still stepping in here. Wow, there's a sweep and a half. God, this is more like it. Okay, if we do crack here, then next level is POC to see if we can try and take it out. I suspect we're going to start seeing some two-way down here. Some size has just been thrown in. Bigger than 200 in one clip. So it's, if you rig it out or they've just put in a fresh, I would suspect down at these prices, considering how we've had a little bit of two-way so far, you would probably, if you did sell up here, you'd be looking to probably get out here. And you guys know as well, markets never just blow through a point of control without at least having a mini correction, right? You love easy trades. The best is when you buy and sell and hit your TP. Oh, 100%, man. This is the type of price action that I wish the market was doing all the time. Just nice big ranges. You know, the only thing that was missing for this, see if this swept a high, right? And then dumped like this, I would frame this and put it in my wall. You know, it is literally my absolute textbook trade. You know, aggressive movement into level, sweeps a high. We then see someone stepping in, absorbing. Then we see aggressive hitting into the bid, and then a capitulation. It's my favorite textbook trade. If I could I don't know, do a strategy as per se, it would be that key inflection point, previous day high, or the overnight low. But when the overnight low and the previous day high are kind of close, I would always wait to the previous day high for a better trade, and then look for this type of behavior. But this is the thing, the market doesn't give it like this all the time, right? This is probably one, you know, you'll get this type of action maybe once a month, you know, seriously, the way that's been happening at the moment. But it's been pretty big ranges the last, you know, the last 2 days has been pretty big ranges, right? But we've got so much news coming out this week as well. It's a really big news day, so I tend to feel what happens when you've got, you know, at least higher impact news every day of the week, is what I tend to feel happens is you have swings down, swing back up into value, swing high, swing back down into value, and all it's done is cause carnage in a way. But what's really happening at the moment, and as we put this back to a composite, we're pretty much still in the range. We're creating all these big ranges, but in essence, what's just happening is larger traders are getting to fill out their positions for the upcoming events, pretty much. And that's either going to be closing or executing fresh positions. But you're right, it's much nicer when it's simple, right? When you just get in, you maybe have a couple of ticks against you or something, but then it just goes in your favor. Because there's one thing about equities that you can do, but you can't really do it in treasuries. I never really pay up. I never pay up or pay down in treasuries. I always try and enter in limit, but I've got no problem in the ES, for example, where I just hit into the bid, for example, or lift into the offer. I try and always enter the limit if I can, to be fair. I'm not really a lot of the time. Depends. But I would say majority of the time I would enter at limit, but then on ENS I can get away with just hitting market right now and taking in. So as expected, I think we're just going to balance out here a little bit. I think that would be. But the book is looking a little thin, especially on the bid at the moment. If some size comes in, let's see if they pull it. They do. They do. Interesting seeing that. Yeah, exactly. I much prefer it. So let's see if they're going to pull here and then go that they've pulled that order. See that 312 planted there to create the buying. So that order wasn't even real. They just flashed to cause some buying in. Would say you do need to be quite patient. When the market's like this, it's hard to trade in the range. Because as we've discussed before, when the bid and offer is a little bit weak, when it's a little bit weaker like it is at the moment, if when you get in, it can in some size hits, some orders get pulled, and you're down 4 ticks. It's the only thing to be careful of. Hello, Mr. Wong, Mr. Hong, sorry, or Lens. How's it going, buddy? Nice of you to join us. Thank you for stopping by. If you guys are new to the stream, if you could hit the like button for me, it would be much appreciated. So, what do we think? Give me a B for ending in balance, or do you think we've got any more shenanigans higher or lower? Let's do a little mini poll, dudes and dudettes. Give me a H for higher and give me an L for lower, or give me a B for balance around here. Let me see what you're thinking. Oh, good buddy, thank you very much for doing so. I was about to say there, someone has just absorbed 280, 290, and some sizes come in. Watch 93s. To be honest, Neil, I scalp as well. I've got absolutely no idea where the market's going. I don't believe in really calling it. I just like to get sentiment for what everyone thinks. I've got as much chance of, picking red or black and roulette as telling you where this is going. And I've been doing this for coming up in 10 years. I learned very quickly that it's much easier to determine where the market's going for the next 10 ticks than it is for the next 10 points. Nikki thinks B to balance to higher. Mr. Hong thinks it's going lower. What would I suggest? I think we are... I think we're just going to balance around. Now, let me try and give my rough idea. I would like to think we need to go down and retest POC. I suppose we've just done that, to be honest. But I definitely think we are in this sort of lower traded area here on the profile. Let me just show you what I'm meaning for today at least. So I wouldn't be surprised if we, trade out here. Hey, Scratch. So I've not really adjusted the mic, mate. I'm not too sure how that is, to be honest with you. Because I remember one of the videos it was quite low and I had to adjust the settings and stuff for it, but I don't know. Thanks for the heads up though, buddy. I'm glad you can hear it okay. See engine predicting 5 points and beyond the heart to heart. Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is the thing. I like to say that I would have captured this move, but there's just, the amount of times that you would sell this and then it would go down 15 ticks back to your entry. You never capture this. You know what I mean? Realistically, getting 50 ticks, it's all very well someone, because this is my opinion of why backtesting sucks, right? And it'd be good to hear everyone's thoughts on this, but this is just generally my thoughts for doing this for a long time. People when they backtest would be like, oh, look at this, so we've got a sweep of the high, or an overnight low, and then this happens and then they dump it off and they put down that they got 50 ticks, right? But you guys know that, for example, I'm just trying to see if we've done it. I'm trying to think of like an example here. Okay, so here, right? We had the high here. We basically swept it at open. Okay, we then chopped around where you've, printed your high again. It's went down, then it's went back up, and then it's went down. It's all very well saying that, you got this move, but sitting through this is hard. You know what I mean? Especially when you've got 20 ticks on the table or whatever, And that's the hard part with people when you do carry out this back testing that people do. My opinion, if people are trying out strategies or doing whatever they're doing, run a 30 trade sample. If you're making money over the 30 trades, great. Repeat it until you get to probably 100 trade sample, roughly, or 90, and then refine it more so that you can determine, how's your max adverse excursion, your max favourable excursion, how are they sitting? For how far is trades going against you? Have you got a fixed stop? What time are you making money? What days of the week do you not? All of these things. Because I believe that spending an hour on your journal is more valuable to you than, just taking trades for the sake of taking trades, to be honest. But Mr. Ong thinks it's going to be a pre-B profile at the end of the day. Yeah, we've still got another hour left for some volume to come in, and you guys know that crazy volume that we cover. So we're right now just in our little box that was balance. I think we'll probably consolidate around here. Yeah, no, exactly, Neil. And honestly, mate, I mean, um, like I would maybe have taken 25 ticks tops to that. Um, and considering unless you took this here, it just didn't really give such a clear entry. You had some large buying come in, then we've taken the high. I mean, you maybe would have get in here, for example, after you saw some selling here, you maybe would have get in, and then you'd have probably been out painless for like 15 ticks, 20 ticks or something. But considering how the market's been for the last few days, you're just never going to know that that's going to dump, you know. So, in my opinion, I would have just taken the 20, for example, because normally, as you guys know, the market just goes back up to your entry anyway, you know. And it's and and here's the thing: is the time that you decide you're going to go for 50 ticks, you'll just get stuffed, you know. You literally get stuffed. You're damned if you do and damned if you don't. So when you've got 20 ticks in the table like that, and you've literally had a glorious trade and only taken like 2 ticks against you in that trade, just take the 20 ticks, chalk it up, good day, good trade, especially if you're hitting that for a couple of contracts as well. You know what I mean? Well, that's a good point, Neil. I would say forward test is probably the term that I would use. Simulate it. The only thing about simulation, and actually, the one good thing about prop firms is, take one of those little teeny weeny accounts from a prop firm. The reason I'm suggesting this to forward test something is because when you're trading with a prop firm, you're actually getting at least somewhat realistic fills. Because if you guys know, when you trade in the simulator, it's not realistic at all. So you'll put an offer out here, right? And when price gets up, you might be 60 in the queue, but as soon as one trades, you'll get filled. It's just not realistic, And then when it comes to your price, if anything trades, you'll be out. So that's one of the things. If you're looking to test out a strategy, go and get like a, I don't know, a 25k or something from whatever, just cheapy one from a prop firm, and try it out. Because if you're like me, I always struggled when I started with just trading sim. I find it hard to take it serious without any form of skin in the game. If you can sit on simulator and execute like it's real market conditions, more power to you. More power to you. But the only thing I would say is, especially on treasuries, right? Treasuries is one where you cannot do it on a simulator. It's so unrealistic. If you can, on treasuries on a simulator, you would be in God mode, to be honest. Um, because anything trades, you get filled, and then you're literally out of 2 ticks when one contract trades. But when in treasuries, because there's like 3k positions in front of you, you normally need to try and time your entries properly to get ahead in the queue. Queue position is very important in treasuries, not so much in ES. You back testing Jigsaw, it's very realistic. The realistic queues. Oh, nice, nice. I didn't realize that was the case. If you get realistic queue positioning and stuff like that, that's really good. It's definitely a good. So we're still consolidating around here at the moment. What's POC volume at? 26k. Jigsaw is a good piece of kit. It's good for the DOM. I wouldn't say the other stuff is fantastic though, but the DOM's good. I've literally got a Jigsaw DOM built here. So, but I'm just never one for having multiple platforms open, to be honest with you. And I'm too tight as well. I refuse to pay for enough. By the time I pay for audio order flow for correlations, I'll need to run over. I just don't really like promoting paid things, to be honest. Um, you know, I need to do a segment for people because I think it really provides, especially if you're trading at indices, right? And you have the big six up, and you see when size comes into them. If you can configure it, well, I'm not saying if you can configure it so that you're getting, either a ticking sound or a visual of like when size is going into Apple or going into Google or going into Microsoft or Nvidia, Tesla. It typically correlates to when size comes into NQ and ES, and I can guarantee you that when this sold off, you would have seen red everywhere. You would have seen tons of selling into the big six at the same time. And the reason why I'm suggesting it's pretty important is because the big six make up, I think, 26-27% of ES, which is a lot. So they, when size comes in there, it tends to move the market, especially at the same time. Good question, Mr. Hong. Good question, buddy. So I'm obviously a Sierra lover. I've used them for years. One thing is they're extremely reliable. The data feed's very good. Oh, we are selling off a little. Can we take this? We're struggling at 95s. I'm going off on a tangent here. Nope, tick down. We're still 95s is holding up. Anyway, sorry. I'll answer the question. So Jigsaw has a good few features that Sierra is lacking for the DOM. Not I wouldn't say it's a showstopper, but quality of life it's there. We're now seeing that area now flashing in the bid, so that is actually held. So one firm has basically just held up that market with that order. Now we've ticked off 6 ticks, for example. Then we're probably going to go here and then reverse back and fill out this more. Classic. So sorry, I'm getting distracted. So Jigsaw has one of the cool things. It's got the letter. It's got a text column at the side, so you can simply, just click and type, which is a cool feature. They also have a slightly better order system than like position filling system than Sierra. What I mean by that is this probably won't work. No, it doesn't, because I'm not allowed to trade after this time. Let me put this into sim a wee second and I'll show you what I mean. Turn on sim. Wait, I have no, I don't. In fact, let me hold a second. I need to make sure that I've just not opened any orders. Okay. Let me just make sure here. I need to double check, but okay, it doesn't matter. Forget it. Right. So when you put out an order here, right, I've got this changed so that it's only showing one. Right, this is in sim. So it's only showing one, right, and it's not showing the full limit. Jigsaw has it like away at the left or right, so it's not in the way of the volume profile. I did a video in this recently, right? So when you're doing that, that's one of the other benefits, and they've got a text field. So what I use in comparison to that is Shift and Q, for example, to basically allow me to draw a line quicker, which is quite good, just as a hotkey. So I can press Shift and Q and it gives me a line, and then typically do that where the buyers or sellers are struggling or whatever. Probably a bad explanation of that. Do you want to disable? Yes. And then I want to open and make sure and flatten that I do not have any open positions at all here. So good question. Good question, buddy. But it's in terms of the speed of the DOM, it's similar. The one thing that Sierra has that Jigsaw does not, which is MBO data, which is handy. So MBO data is pretty important. For me, this is MBO data, so it flashes and shows you the size on the DOM, and they're likely to actually be size unless the longer they sit there, the more unlikely they are to be pulled. But feel free to ask any other questions, guys. A little minute, I'm just going to check I've got myself a bit paranoid at the minute. I'm going to log into my broker account to make sure that I don't have any. No, I don't. That's fine. Just going on to the iron beam. Do you know what's weird about all trading like routing platforms like Iron Beam, Stage 5, Edge Clear, Rhythmic? Their software is terrible. It's like being back in the early 2000s. It's like Windows 95, you know. Yeah, MBO data is really important. The one platform that I'm not a major fan of, right, and unless it's just because it's they've not configured it properly from what I've seen, but Bookmap, I'm not a major fan. I'm not a major fan of Bookmap. I think mainly, I was going to purchase it years ago, And then I've watched some stuff on the likes of of YouTube and stuff about it. And in my opinion, their settings are. I've watched NQ before, right? And I've seen them say like, sell iceberg when I've watched the DOM, and the DOM's had like 5 contracts executed. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. You really need to tweak the thresholds. Maybe something like minimum iceberg on ES is like, I don't know, 200-300 or something. And then NQ, you maybe need to make it 30 to 50, something along those lines. Because otherwise it would be calling an iceberg when, you know, some refreshing happens at 10 contracts. It's ridiculous. And I also think versus the likes of Sierra, I think Bookmap is extremely overpriced for what it is. Yeah, exactly. And in my opinion, the the volume dots are not that accurate, to be honest. And because of the MBO data that's with Rhythmic through it, it calls out sell stops and buy stops a lot of the time, and it's just guesswork. You know what I mean? Because obviously you guys know that the sell orders and buy orders for stops are at broker side; they're not visible. So they're basically calling sweeps stops. And obviously when the market blips through price, okay, typically you're seeing some stops. Like, it's hard to it's different a different look when there's just orders being pulled versus stops been hit. It's different. Yeah, I suppose I really need to see it in action to be honest with you, but I feel that the first couple of times I've looked at it, um, I've felt a little bit like it's a heat map with some liquidity thrown on, with best guesses to where stops and icebergs are, to be honest. And I feel like it's pretty overpriced. Sellers are tearing through here at the minute, but they still need to crack 92s. So we're still consolidating in at the moment. And to be honest, if you, there's a number of book map channels and stuff I've watched in the past, some traders that trade it, and they make it out as if it's, trading's extremely easy. Oh, you just wait for a big, sell or buy iceberg, draw a zone, and then when price breaks out it, you buy or sell or something. Wish it was that easy. You're certainly not going to get that here. You're going to get the hard truth of trading, which is it's a really hard way to make a to make an easy living. Right, come on, we want to crack this with some oomph, you know. And Russell's at the lows as well. You'd think that we're going to see a wee bit more pain to the downside now, considering we're down here. Watch Russell to see if we do sweep here and how the market behaves at the 34 sort of area down here where we've got these orders printed. Because right now, guys, I think it goes without saying, but this is just not tradable. You know, this is just market making heaven right now. Get NQ going there. See, can we crack here? So they're just struggling to get through this here, you know. A little bit two-way action. Let me know if you guys have got any other questions. If you not hit the like button for me, peeps, I'd appreciate it. But there we are again with the book being pretty thin. If some size comes in, then this is pulled, then you're right back to where you are. That's exactly it. So until we break, probably here and here, we're just in this range right now. And the buying is supported by this POC in a higher volume area for the day so far. So currently this is just an inventory fill right now while we're in here. But we're certainly going to break out it because we've got 9 minutes till the, probably 9 minutes to the dot when we get some volume coming in. And it's bound to break one way or another. Notice though that there's been a little bit more buying coming in with Delta, but price is not moving. So it is being absorbed at present. So they really need to start coming in and the offer needs to be pulled in order to break through here. Just 300 contracts that are absorbed at 97.75 on the bid. Tons of two-way, to be honest. Okay, let's see if we do get some size coming in. We should see a little mini sweep because we should have some stop outs on the sell side here. Really call it a wee bit more. Here we go. We just popped above. There's stop's been taken. Let's see if they're going to reverse or continue on. It's not more buying, it just came in there. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I refreshed this just to see what's happening recently if I'm not really paying attention. Then I have cumulative delta on the left here. So I try to have all things covered. Last ditch attempt here for sellers at the moment. They're going to need to start defending. NQ's a runaway train. See if it can pull back. Sellers can get a bit of breathing room at the minute. And the bid is forming up a little bit. This 1.5 here is going to be important. See, they're just reloading on the bid here. It's not great. See that 1.5. Let's see how the market reacts. The orders were just pulled to get down there. 1.5 here is important with the next real size that looks to be refreshing. Okay, ticked just below it and then straight back up. On the way up here, this has not exactly been smooth sailing. If you're buying here, right? It's been like sweeping up, sweeping down. The bid's now been pulled. Yeah, there we go. Wow, look at the bid, just been absolutely hammered there. And that's exactly what happens when you're in this ranges and stuff. The breakouts get stuffed, man. We've just sold off there, as a pullback right down, and there's not really been any selling that's come in, and then we're right back at square one. Jeez, oh. Well, that was a quick 15 tick rotation, wasn't it? Okay, let's see if you can do it again. See, they're flashing at this. Wow, let's see if this is real. Are they going to pull that? Yeah, they just pulled half. They've just pulled it all. Okay, 125 I think traded. Sparkets bounced right off it. Huh. Thank you, some sizes just come in. If it continues on, we'll see these orders pull and we'll be down at 98.5. If NQ hits into the bid, but it's not. Okay, so Russell's back at POC at the moment. I don't know if you guys have got any other questions. I appreciate we're just, even though this is broke out here, we had this sell off, now we're back here. It's not been the smoothest price action, has it? Like, this was smooth. This has not exactly been the easiest momentum, but we've got 2 minutes, guys, until watch. In the next 2 minutes, we're going to see some size come in. Countdown happening in a minute. Countdown happening. Yep. I'm just going to pop this in the chat for anyone that wants to show some support to the channel. Watch the size about to come in. Here we go. It's about to come in any second. There we go. A little bit. NQ just had a huge bid come in. Okay, 15 minutes of action. Let's see what we're going to do. Are we going to revert back to POC, or are we going to go up here and end the day in a spike? How are we going to do it? Answers on a postcard. Let's see how they're going to finish the day, because the next 15 minutes is going to be it, where all the volume's going to come in. Are we going to go and sweep the highs? Who was it that called higher? I think it was Mr. Hong. You said higher earlier. Notice how weak the bid is here. If some size comes in, this will be down 4 or 5 ticks. They're holding. Nope, they don't seem. Sellers seem to be struggling right now. They need to see how the market reacts. It's 6 3/4 here. Bid's been pulled. Looks like we're going to go up for another sweeperoo at the top. The Russell's not really been affected, it's still hovering around POC. So with that in mind, the sellers do step in here. We're going to see some long coverings pretty soon. If this goes. Wow, size just come into NQ there, jeez. Here we go. Sellers need to sellers step in. We'll be down here soon. But as we know, guys, in the next 10 minutes, it could be anywhere. See how the market reacts at 1 1/4 here. Well, this rule size is actually printing. Are they going to take it all? Someone is absorbing right now. Yeah. Little teeny iceberg at 1 1/2. Now the last 2 streams, okay, there has been extreme in the last, I would say probably in the next 5 minutes, there has been tons of orders planted, the last 2 streams. Someone has come in round about 2 to 3 minutes to 4 and just printed 100 lot, 100 lot, 100 lot, 50, 50, 50, up about 15 ticks the last 2 streams. And what's happened is they've printed it and the market has then just went aggressively lifted the offer into these prices. They're doing it this side right now, so they've done it in the offer the last time. So let's see if sellers are going to aggressively hit into these prices to get them filled, because they did it on the offer the last 2 times. So it looks like we're potentially going to be down here at 1 1/4. Let's see if they do the same behavior. So note that 1 1/4 is where the last order start. Well, what we'll do is we'll put a line here. Okay. Now these orders are going to get filled. I would be very surprised if someone plants out this amount and then pulls them. I mean, they could obviously pull them, but if some size comes in right now, they can get a lot of size off here. Yep, just taking it, and the markets went bid off, then we've hit it. Yep. Yeah, it's playing out. So whoever is coming in and printing out these orders, the market is then going down to that, and it's happened the last 2 or 3 streams, I would say. Now they've pulled, so now it looks like they've got their fills in the bid. So let's see if they pull. Right. 600 lots showing here. Wow, there's no way that's going to be real, right? Maybe this guy's just had a bad day, you know? No one's showing 600 lots of real size. No way. That's basically like sitting at a poker table and turning over one of your cards. I would love the market to get there to see what happens, but I think that will disappear. So we've got 5-6 minutes, probably 4 minutes till the real volume comes in. Let's see if they do print more. Some more size. They've got this extremely weird 600 lot staring at us in the face. See if we're going to take that full 50. 100 now. Yeah, see, they're just pulling. But not really too much action right now. Deciding we're kind of still going bid, but in the next 5 minutes we could end up, back in here very easily. NQ is ripping. Has everyone been completely done trading? I'm assuming you're not executing any more positions at this time. Has anyone still got any positions or anything open? Loads of two-way here. 800 absorbed in the offer, which is a lot. It really shows you how insignificant. I mean, this is a definite iceberg here. It really shows you how insignificant retail is. I mean, it's so insignificant. It's ridiculous. You've just seen over 2,500 contracts traded in minutes, and people are worrying about one or two lots getting stop hunted. It's crazy. That's honestly, when people start watching the depth of market, you just realize very, very quickly that people that say that, it's a lot of nonsense. I do believe that, the market goes collectively to stop areas, but they don't specifically hunt stops or whatever. It's not a thing. No more positions, Mr. Hong. Good man. Yeah, we're just completely trading out two-way here. 1 minute to all the volume. We want to see how this 600 lot goes down. Surely that's got to be filled, right? It's been sitting here for a while. Let's check if this is pulled. Here we go, the action is happening. Look at the amount of volume that's trading here. The market's not even going anywhere. See, 600 lots gone, pulled. Sneaky. It was the evens, so notice they're planting here. See if they're going to go and fill these. Okay, so notice all the flashing on this side. And they're just pulling them. Unbelievable. Like, we've literally in the last 5 minutes witnessed like 10 spoofs with these guys just planting orders and pulling them. Absolutely no intention. This guy that's planted 600 lots had absolutely zero intention of getting filled in that order. And they say that spoofing doesn't happen anymore and it's illegal. But we just witnessed about 5 of them in the last 5 minutes. Pulled here, 600 pulled. You know, these ones typically don't get pulled because they're really small. Well, when I say really small, small to these boys. Okay, let's put this down to the... We want to see if this dude at least has some sort of respect for this level if it does get down where he had his 600s printed in. If the market goes down here and it just blows right through it, then you've got to ask yourself the question, right? We are seeing a bit of a tick down in the Russell. Well, at least below POC anyway. We need NQ to be hitting into the bid so that we can go down and test this level. We want to see how the market reacts when this gets here. But looks like we may go up and fill these. What an uneventful, crazy volume time. We've literally been in a 10 tick range. Which is not ideal. What's our bets here when the market goes down here? If we do, we want to see if there's at least going to be an iceberg or something down here where this dude had 600 planted. Well, let me know if you guys have got any other questions. Not very much action. We think we had this is the since we come on the stream. This has been the most action that's happened. Let's have a quick look to see how Treasuries is finished. And Treasuries has not moved. Jeez, oh. Wow. All of that crazy movement and Treasuries has literally, you know, traded out and not really moved. We're just about to create a new POC here. Yeah. That's why Treasuries is nice and easy for people. You don't have these crazy movements. No. No, I don't really trade it. I've got burned a lot for trading. For trading the sort of 10 to 4 to 5 past 4 US time. It's just a wild amount of size that comes in. But you're right, if people are trading that, they need to be really careful with the amount of size that comes in. Notice what's interesting here, that Delta is now printed new highs now that we've not, so there's a lot more buying coming in. So it's just not enough volume left in the day, to be honest, but this would be primed right now for sellers to step in and basically create some form of long liquidations, but just not at this time of day. It's just something to note for tomorrow, how we've ended so positive Delta, yet the market's not really moved when we've effectively opened and closed in the exact same spot. Yet we're plus 16k delta in a day. which I think is an interesting point. We could check open interest to see how many of that's carried over. Again, it's hard to know what's long and short, of course. But as we know, any ones that are carried over is always institution. There's very, very few retail that's ever carrying over positions. It's pretty much only institutions. So let me know if you guys get any other questions. We'll probably look to wrap up in the next 10, unless there's some excitement, but I can't really see too much happening. Now that we've had the last injection of volume.